Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Clash Duty here, bringing you another Fortnite video. Today, I'm going to bring you a tips video of how to build well. In this video, I will be using Builder Pro, and I highly recommend that you use that if you're in console. If you're on PC, this stuff still does apply to you. It's just obviously you don't have to use Builder Pro because you're on PC, and that's how it works. So, also, there's a tip that should be pretty obvious. Practice makes perfect. Not everything on here you're going to master right away. I highly recommend that you take some time and work at each thing. Yeah, but with that aside, let's get right into it. Tip number 1. This one's pretty obvious, but I catch myself messing it up, and I'm sure you guys do too. Have enough materials. It's impossible to build if you don't have stuff to build with. It kind of just makes sense. So I recommend having at least 500 materials, cumulative. Just yeah, have enough materials to get in a serious fight. Tip number 2, very much related to tip number 1. Instead of getting a bunch of stone and metal early on, you want to focus on getting wood, because wood is much more durable than stone or metal when it's first placed. It can withstand a pump shotgun shot, unlike stone and metal. The only thing you'll need stone or metal for is for building a fort, which is not really necessary in the early game. So basically, try to get wood over stone and metal early on. Tip number 3, save your fort building for late game. There's no need for you to make a giant fort in the first circle. You want to save your brick and stone for the late game so that you can have that. There's no need for you to build a fort early game, especially because it makes you way more predictable. Nice voice crack, thank you. It makes you way more predictable, and you don't want that early game. People could just rush up to you, and you don't want that. Tip number 4, build before shooting 90% of the time. You really want to get the advantage in a gunfight, and one of the easiest ways to do that is to build. If someone is shooting at you, you want to build. If they haven't shot at you yet, you still want to build, because if they start shooting back and they haven't built up, you have that huge advantage of having that structure in front of you when they don't. Then you start shooting at them with the stuff built, and they can't do anything about it. So basically, yeah, you want to build before shooting almost every time. The only times that you don't want to is if it's a noob and you just don't want to waste resources, but it's best to rely on the building, not the fact that he might be a noob. Tip number 5, when attacking someone's existing tower, make sure that you get the high ground on them early enough to where you're not building up right to their level. If you build right to the top of their tower without any height advantage on them, they can easily just shotgun your face before you can do anything about it. So you want to try to go above their level, basically. If it's impossible to do that, you actually want to go below and make sure that they can't shoot down on you. But for the most part, you really just want to try to get that high ground as you're rushing the tower. Tip number 6, use the 2 layers staircase. I use this a lot in my gameplay at this point. Basically what it is you're rushing with a ramp up something. I'll give examples in a bit. And you also have a ramp above your head. So if anyone's above you, they can't shoot down at you. And that is huge. You don't want people shooting you. It's kind of a huge part of the game. So this can be used to get the high ground in a build fight, or even scale a mountain that someone's on. It's very, very useful for avoiding getting shot from above, and you're still going up at the same time, which is very crucial to getting the height advantage. Tip number 7. you need to use the ramp and wall rush strategy. Basically what that is as you place a ramp, then you place a wall, and you keep going up. Instead of just building one ramp that's easy to shoot down, you have 2 layers on your ramp. It makes it so hard to shoot down. You saw this pretty early in the gameplay. One guy rushed me, and I totally lost the high ground to him as I tried to shoot it down. And that was also multiple other mistakes. But you see, it's really hard to shoot down someone's stair when they use that strategy. So use it. Tip number 8, initiate build battles. It's huge getting that height advantage, and when they start building up before you, they already have a height advantage. If you start by building before they even think of it, you're going to get that height advantage, and it's going to be crucial to winning that gunfight. So yeah, even if the other guy's not building up, you need to. There's no other option. You just gotta, because if you don't, then you're very likely not gonna win that gunfight, and that would stink. So yeah, you want to win gunfights, so build up first. Tip number 9, reposition if you lose the high ground. You don't want to be predictable, because that's what gets you killed. If you lose the high ground, which happens to everyone, it stinks, but you have to get over it and do something about it. You still need that high ground almost every single time to be able to win the gunfight, so you want it back. But you don't want to go up the same way you were, because that won't work. You could even go down a few layers, but make sure that the guy doesn't know where you're coming from, and if he does, make sure you already have the high ground. Basically, if you don't have the high ground, try to be unpredictable by repositioning. Sometimes you need to heal up in the middle of a build battle. Just make sure they don't know where you are by repositioning. Cool. Finally, tip number 10, place ramps over where the enemy wants to go. Sometimes an enemy is just going up a staircase, and it's very obvious that they're doing that. Sometimes it's not quite as obvious, but it's your job to figure it out. What you want to do is place a staircase right above where they're going, so that they can no longer build that staircase. I did that multiple times in this gameplay. The last one didn't go quite as well as I wanted it to, but yeah, so if you can get the staircase over them, you already have a huge advantage in the build battle. And that right there will conclude this video. If you learned something, leave a comment saying what you learned. It would be very much appreciated. It'll help me out knowing what I did goodly and what I did wrongly. So yeah, if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.